Coming out, they're coming out.
Pantaleo is a curse. It's time to heal the hurt. Cause we need justice and we need it now. Pantaleo is a curse. It's time to heal the hurt. Cause we need justice and we need it now. Pantaleo is a curse. It's time to heal the hurt. Cause hey! Oh!
Good afternoon. Today, talk about the summation of the trial with Officer Pantaleo. We just want to let everyone know this was a tragedy all the way around, and we're here to let the people know that this should never have happened. The lesson here is that civilians have to comply with the lawful orders of the police officers on the street. Had that actually happened, unfortunately, Mr. Gardner's illnesses caused him to pass away. Had he complied with lawful order, he would still be here today. The summations of this trial showed exactly what we said all along, that Mr. Gardner was not choked, a chokehold was not used, and the summations showed that it was unfortunately due to his poor health that this happened. With that, let me turn it over to our attorney, Stuart.
I think what was important today was at the end of my summation when I read from Officer Pantaleo's internal police department statement. The first was showed his intent. His intent was just to bring Mr. Gardner to the ground, and when he had him on the ground, his intent was never to apply any pressure to his neck area at all. Unfortunately for Mr. Gardner, his compromised cardiorespiratory system led to his demise. And I think that was even supported by the witness call today, who indicated that Mr. Gardner could have had an acute asthmatic attack as he walked away, even if no hands were put on him, based on his agitated state. Questions? Look, I think he did release early. He had him, his arm was near his neck area for approximately 3 to 4 seconds. As soon as he realized that, he got up, and Mr. Gardner, A, did not lose consciousness, and B, was talking, so there was clearly no impairment to his breathing.
What do you know? I know it's going to take, who knows how long it's going to take, so talk to us about the time frame, about when this decision.
Normally in cases like this, they have 90 days to issue a decision, and then we have another 2 weeks to respond to that decision to the police commission. In this case, I expect an expedited schedule. I expect a decision on or about July 18th, the 5-year anniversary of the case.
Were you able to find out more about the presence of the U.S. Attorney's Office yesterday?
No, nothing at all, and we were actually gratified she was there. I thought our expert was excellent. I'm glad they saw that because he was a qualified former president of the Medical Association who made it clear that A, he didn't die from an asphyxiation, B, he didn't die from anything having to do with the neck hold, and C, he died from a heart attack. He had a heart twice the size of a normal individual.
Now that this is over, can you talk to us about Pantaleo's mental state today?
Sure. He's obviously relieved things are over. It's been an unbelievably stressful situation for him. He has a wife, he has a child. He's a regular individual who was really just trying to do his job that day. And I think any of us would realize to be through the pressure and stress he has for 5 years is almost untenable. He was desperate to testify, but I would not let him because it's prior to July 18th, and that's the date the feds have to move forward if they want to.
Considering how
Yes, we'll fight the negative inference, predominantly because CCRB could have called him as a witness and chose not to. Thank you.
Still. One more question. After all of this, does he even want to remain a part of the NYPD?
Believe it or not, he does. He is a hardworking officer who, according to 2 of the officers who testified, was a grade A officer. He believes in police work. It's in his blood. He'd love to continue. Thank you.
Will you release his IAB interview?
Nothing. We will rely on 50A. Thank you.
It's a public trial.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Thank you all for coming. My name's Loida Colon. I'm co-director of Justice Committee. Today marks 25 days since the family of Eric Garner has been dealing with this trial. 25 days with 7 days of trial. Meanwhile, during those 25 days, the Garner family has been left to figure out when to take off work, when to go back to work, trying to manage this schedule while Pantaleo is allowed to take vacation and do whatever the hell he wants. That is completely disrespectful to the family of Eric Garner. 25 days and only 7 days of trial. This could have been done in a week and a half. Today, the Garner family had to sit through more of Stu London's stunts, more of his games, and complete lack of disrespect. Today, in closing arguments, Stu London said that Lieutenant Christopher Bannon saying not a big deal was justified because he was just looking out for his cops. Stu London also said that Pantaleo's partner, Justin D'Amico, filing false felony charges against Eric Garner after he was dead didn't matter. He said it doesn't matter because Eric was dead. That is what the Garner family has been forced to have to sit through. Stu London, and let's remember, Daniel Pantaleo has refused to testify. He actually refused to testify. We all saw the video. Daniel Pantaleo is guilty. He's guilty and he knows it. And that is the reason he didn't testify. Because a white cop shouldn't have to hide. If he's innocent, an innocent white cop is very well protected in this city. So what is Pantaleo afraid of? He's afraid because he's guilty. The lack of regard for a black man's life, for Eric Garner's life, by at least a dozen, if not more, police officers, is not just appalling. It should be terrifying to all New Yorkers. This is an issue of public safety. And the rot starts at the head. This is the death of Eric Garner, the continued misconduct, the cover-ups, all the lies being condoned for 5 years. Eric Garner's blood is on the hands of Mayor de Blasio.
Right on.
Eric Garner's blood is on the hands of Commissioner O'Neill.
Right on.
Eric Garner's blood is on the hands of Deputy Commissioner Kevin Richardson, who's the head of DAO. He was the one back in 2015 that IAB recommended charges to. He's the one that decided not to charge Daniel Pantaleo. We must all remember Daniel Pantaleo was never charged by NYPD. That was CCRB who charged him, and that shouldn't be the case. And make no mistake that Eric Garner's blood is also on the hands of all of the police unions, including the PBA, who continue to shield their officers who are creating violent acts, who are murdering innocent New Yorkers. Remember that Eric Garner had not committed a crime. This was a false arrest with false charges after he was murdered. That is what we're talking about here. We shouldn't have to bring this city to a stop for officers to be held accountable who abuse and murder us. These officers should be held accountable without us having to shut down this city. And mark my words, Daniel Pantaleo better be fired. And the Gardner family better be told of the results of this trial. We don't want to hear about 50A or any of these damn excuses. The family deserves to know what happens to the person who murdered. Eric Gardner's mother has a right to know what happens to the person who choked her son to death. It is not okay to leave this family wondering. And before I bring the mother of Eric Gardner, Mrs. Gwen Carr, to speak, want to be very clear. We're here today for the Pantaleo trial. But we want all the officers responsible for Eric Gardner's murder off the police force. The truth is that they should all be charged with the crimes that they committed. Because these are crimes that they committed. Murder is a crime. Daniel Pantaleo needs to be fired for choking Eric to death. Sergeant Kizzy Adonis needs to be fired for failure to supervise. She did absolutely nothing, and she was the commanding officer on the scene. Lieutenant Christopher Bannon, Mr. Not a Big Deal. There shouldn't be police officers on the force who don't give a damn when a New Yorker is dying on the street. He should not be a police officer. Justin D'Amico for lying. You're not supposed to lie on official reports. It is a fireable offense. He should be fired. He should have already been charged by the department for this. And there are no charges pending. Police officers Furlani and Ramos, also they actually testified that they heard Eric Gardner. They heard him say, "I can't breathe," and they ignored him. They could have helped Eric Gardner, and they decided not to. We don't need these kinds of officers on the force. We don't want these cops in our streets. New Yorkers deserve better. And the family of Eric Gardner deserves better. Eric Gardner deserved better than this. Now I'm going to bring up Gwen Carr, the mother of Eric Gardner. I also want to acknowledge that his sister, Alicia Gardner, is also here, along with his cousin Michael Gardner and cousin Rachel Gardner Welch. Raquel Gardner Welch. So just want to show some love to them and acknowledge them. Gwen, please.
Oh. Okay, here we go again. I had to sit in that courtroom and listen to the lies as Stu London gave his closing remarks. With all of his disregard, he disregarded our family completely. He had no remorse as he gave his closing remarks. He said everything was justified. There was no chokehold. They showed over and over again that there was a chokehold. So I want to say to the press, do not believe the police officers' lies. The ones who came before me, they lied. They lied on official reports. They lied in the courtroom. They came out here and they lied to you. Amen. That union rep, I don't know how he sleeps at night, but he is like his name. So we will just we'll treat him like he's not there, because that's how he treats us. And 5 years ago, after my son lost his life, they didn't even try to give criminal charges to Pantaleo. There was no indictment. They seen no misconduct. There were the only 12 people, I think, besides the police department, that didn't see my son murdered and choked to death on video. And we can't stand for that. We have to support. The trial is over today, but we are going to continue. We're not letting this die. We'll be out on the street. We are going to be doing press conferences. We are going to keep my son's name and memory and legacy alive. So if they think that we are going away, they are sadly mistaken. We are here. They're going to see me. I'm going to be up in their face. I'll be up in Albany. I'll be over here at City Hall. I'll be everywhere. They're going to think I'm kin to them because I'm going to be right holding on to their coattail until I get justice. And I just hope all of you stick with me. Say that again. Yes, and every day when we come out, you notice that the PBA and the police officers, they come out and they say whatever it is they have to say. They hold us back so that we can't be in the same area with them. What are they afraid of? The truth. The truth. That's what they're afraid of, the truth. They're paying their witnesses to say what they say up in the courtroom. We paid no one because the truth you don't have to pay for.
That's right.
And thank you.
This stops today. This stops today. Get the book.
Right.
Gwen Carr's book. This stops today.
So before I call up the next speaker, I want to acknowledge the families whose loved ones were killed by police who are here. And that's Iris Baez, the mother of Anthony Baez, whose son was put in a chokehold and murdered in 94. Hortensia Peterson, the aunt of Akai Gurley, Carl Stubbs, the father of Clifford Johnson, and Joshua Lopez, the nephew of John Collado. Our next speaker is Hortensia Peterson, the aunt of Akai Gurley.
It's being hell sitting up in this courtroom. It's being hell listening to the lies of NYPD. It's being hell as a family member of police brutality. The truth in this case, Pantaleo recklessly. I'm so nervous right now, I don't know why. Pantaleo recklessly assaulted Eric Gardner, therefore causing his death, using an illegal chokehold. The fact in this case is, if Pantaleo did not touch Eric Gardner, he would be alive today. The fact in this case is, you see the movie on Netflix, you see us? This is this case. This is what they look at and they see when they see people of color. This is enough of Pantaleo recklessly not only lying, but assaulting an innocent person. Because of that, Eric is no longer here. That's 5 years ago, come July. Eric was murdered cold-bloodedly. He was choked to death. Yes, we all know that he had health issues. And that's Stu London, there's a special place for him. Pat Lynch, there's a special place. Hell has a special place with their names. The lies, just the lies that they was telling here today, and in the way how, in the summation is that, oh, we don't care because he died. No, it is. You should have empathy. You should be sympathetic in that you took a person's life. And here it is now because of all this, because of him murdering him, we're here. Eric Gardner's blood is on the entire NYPD's hand. Why? Because you wear that color blue, you represent a system that needs to be dismantled. You represent a system that murders us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Reverend Daltrey from House of the Lord Church.
Thank you very much. As always, I'm impressed with the mothers, particularly Mrs. Carr, who sits through these awful times. Let me say just a couple things that are memorable in my mind, in addition to the video itself. But the words of Sergeant Jones, I think it was, who said that we have to use 1,000 techniques that are not taught in the academy. And that explains why policemen, as cruel as they are, and the reason why they get away with what they do. They're free to act on their perception, and their perception is influenced by a country that has a history of racism. This is the 400th year of our enslavement. The second words that come to mind, and Sergeant Jones gives us an understanding, is the words of Brannon. When he got word that Eric was dead, well, no big deal. Can you imagine if there were any humanity, any sensitivity, any humanness, you would express regret in some form. But they don't regret, no feelings. When people are killed, brutalized, dehumanized, there's no regret, no feeling. Well, Mrs. Clark, I just want to say we're going to be with you as long as we can. We'll be there beside you. If you march, we'll be there. If you go to jail, civil disobedience, we've been there. And if you argue out, we'll be there, as we have been there for every mother since 1973 when Clifford Glover, a black youth, was shot in the back. Again, it don't matter.
Thank you. Our next speakers are Derek Perkison and Cynthia Davis from the National Action Network.
No justice? No peace. No justice? No peace. No justice? No peace. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. My name is Derek Perkison, New York City Field Director for the National Action Network, led by our founder and leader, the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton. We want to thank all other community members that's here today that's been in support of the Gardner family. Nan has been here and will be here long after you cameras are gone, until justice is served and to provide comfort for the family. There was a lot of facts that was relayed throughout these days of trial. A few of them I'd like to bring to light. Justice delayed is justice denied, but the facts are indisputable. The medical examiner stated clearly that this was homicide. The many of the people that testified clearly stated that was a chokehold around Eric Gardner's neck. There's nothing to argue on the Pantaleo team side. They were given an oath. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. That oath has been made a mockery. It's been trickling down probably from DC, Agent Orange, where they lie so much, it's become second nature. But we will not stand for the lies. We will stand in unity with the Gardner family and all families that are being treated in this fashion. And we will not stop standing with the Gardner family. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, wait, not yet. Not.
No, that's fine.
Something.
Just took a boost on what Derek was saying. It is unfortunate that we have gone from Christopher Bannon saying that it's not a big deal to Lord Stuart London saying that, until Stuart London saying that the chokehold was a lie and it's a joke. Okay, the chokehold is a joke. So
no joke.
We have news for them. It's like Ms. Gwen said, we're not going anywhere. We're going to be here. We're going to be here to support them, support the family. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Monifa Bandelli from Moms Rising.
Good afternoon. I'm going to keep it short. What's happening today, what has happened in this trial is so very dangerous. What happened to Eric Garner and the 5 years that his family has been denied justice is the process of sending a clear message that Black lives do not matter. If Officer Pantaleo is not held accountable, it doesn't just mean that the Garner family doesn't get justice, and that is what we're here for. But it also means that each and every member of our community is not safe because this city administration has said that our lives are disposable. When you say not a big deal, that really sums up what has been happening for 5 years. So we ask everyone, if not for Eric Garner, for your child, for your nephew, for your daughter who's walking down the street, we must demand at all times that all Black lives matter, and we will not stop until they do. Thank you, Gwen Carr. Love you.
Black Lives Matter!
Black Lives Matter.
Black lives matter. Black lives matter.
Eric's life mattered!
Eric's life mattered.
Eric's life mattered! Eric's life mattered! Now, before we take Q&A, Mrs. Carr has a request to make of the media.
Yes, I would like every member of the media to stop printing the NYPD lies, the one that they come out here and tell you every day. Because some of this they are making up, some of it is in court, they done said, they done lied. Some they come out here you never heard before, they're making this stuff up. When we come out and we tell you what's going on, this is real. We tell you exactly what's happening in the courts, what is being said, who is lying, and how they're caught lying, who's being paid off to come and tell these lies. So please print what we say, because it's the truth.
Wait, hold on 1 second. And say you want all the cops fired.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes. We're on this trial for Daniel Pantaleo, but we need all the cops fired who was involved in my son's death that day. They're not speaking about firing anybody but Pantaleo, but we need all dozen of those cops fired who was on the scene, who did nothing that day to preserve my son's life. There was some that lied on official reports. There was some that looked the other ways. Others pounced on my son as he said, "I can't breathe." And of course, Danny Pantaleo clamped his hands and choked my son to death. They all need to be off the police force. Thank you.
Before we go into Q&A, we want to acknowledge the groups that are here, the groups that have been out here demanding the firing of Eric Garner and all cops engaged in the killing of Eric Garner. That includes Communities United for Police Reform and members and partners including Justice Committee, 100 Black Men, Cindy Cares, Gathering for Justice, Justice League New York City, Girls for Gender Equality, Jews for Racial and Economic Justice, Jewish Voices for Peace, Make the Road New York, NAACP Legal Defense and Education Fund, National Action Network, New York City Anti-Violence Project, Resource Generation, Showing Up for Racial Justice NYC, Take on Hate New York City, Vocal New York, the Arab American Association of New York, Moms Rising, Malcolm X Grassroots Movement, and everybody I missed. That's a whole lot of folks showing up. Thank you for the love.
Yeah.
Now, are there any questions from the media?
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter. After 7 days, do you feel like CCRB will have an effective case for your son? And just come in front of the microphone so we can make sure.
Okay. Yes, I really feel that the CCRB did their job. They did it effectively. I really believe that.
Okay.
And they have proved the case.
Let me ask you this. 7 days, are you just as anxious and just as upset? Characterize your level of emotion today now that it's over. After waiting 5 years.
But it's not over. It's not over. I mean, we're still in the middle of this.
It's not.
It's not. It's just like it's a continuation because this is not my last. It's my last day here at 1PP, but this is not my last day of out here trying to advocate and get justice. So,
June 15 is secret motions.
and then on June 15, there's a secret motion that I'm not even allowed to know about. So
That
this
affects the recommendation.
this affects the recommendation. So we have to be out here fighting for that. So it's no rest for the weary.
That's right. Do you have assurances yet whether you'll be told officially what the decision
No, this is what I'm saying
Not
now.
from the
We,
NYPD.
not from the NYPD. We haven't gotten any kind of assurance from them. So this is why we have to keep this movement alive.
You stepped out of the room during student level summation. Can you tell me what the lies?
I couldn't take any more of his lies. I just didn't want to obstruct the courtroom. I did not want to get put out the courtroom, so I stepped out the courtroom.
The U.S. Attorney's Office was here yesterday. Did you hear anything from them?
No, I haven't heard anything. All I know is they stayed for the defense part of the trial, and they left right after that. They didn't even hear what the CCRB had to say.
I know there's a long way to go for you, but are you feeling any relief about not having to come here every day and not having to watch the video?
No, I'm not feeling any relief. I won't feel relief until justice is served. We're going to continue. We're going to continue to fight. I mean, like I said, this is not the end. We're going after Pantaleo and all the other cops. I mean, we're in the middle of this fight. We're not at the end.
Do you worry at all that if Officer Pantaleo is fired, that the backlash among the rank and file officers will make communities, Black Chicago communities, unsafe?
No, this is why we have to get together. It's going to be safe if they're off the force. And we're the ones that's going to make our communities safer. Because with them on the force, the communities are not safe.
Ms. Carr, so just Mr. Money came out to me before you did. I asked him if Pantaleo wanted to remain in the court. He said he does. He wants to keep his job.
He does. He does.
With 7 lawsuits against him?
Yeah, he do. He want to keep it. Of course, he want to go kill more people. Yeah.
He wants to keep his 6-figure salary.
And he want to keep his 6-figure salary. Of course.
That's all.
Yeah, of course that upsets me.
He's a liability.
Are there any other questions? Any other questions? Thank you all for coming.
Your tax dollars are influence.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
He wants that money.